Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to another edition of the Best Women's Boxing Show, period. I am Cynthia Conte, but as you can tell in our intro, my partner in crime, my yin to my yang, Miss Jeandra LeBeauf. She is not here today. She was so close to jumping on the plane, but unfortunately she is sick at home. But she will be joining us later on for some other interviews. But today she just, unfortunately, she could not be in the one that we're going to be doing very shortly, or actually I will be doing, because I know she really wanted to sit in on this one. Today, we're bringing you another treat. I would love to tell you what happened in boxing because then I have no one else to talk to about boxing. I don't think you know boxing. Do you know boxing, Chase?
Not a thing.
So never mind. I could just ask you, who's your favorite boxer? Do you know any boxers?
I know Antonio Tarver.
Good answer. As you know. Well, there you go. That is the introduction to our next guest on the Best Women's Boxing Show, period. He is a Hall of Famer. He just got inducted in the Indiana Hall of Fame. You've seen him in Rocky Balboa. He's an actor. He's a boxer. Let me get this. I want to make sure I got this right, Mr. Tarver. Unified WBA, WBC, IBF, and Ring Magazine light heavyweight boxer, Mr. Antonio Magic Man Tarver. Welcome to the show. I'm so sad. Jeandra really wanted to be here. She was seriously like packed and ready to go because she's in LA and we shoot in Vegas. And she's like, damn it. But I said, I'm going to hold the fort down for us and until you get better, because if not, then, you would see her in and out of the shot, and that just would not be great. But she says hello, and she wishes she was here. And congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction.
Well, it was Indiana Hall of Fame.
Yes, Indiana.
A couple weeks ago.
Oh, it was a couple weeks ago. Okay.
A couple weeks ago, yes. And I was just a spectator this past weekend at the trilogy of inductions in the Canastota, New York Hall of Fame, which all of the great legends, went in this year. It was 3 classes from 2000, 2001, and 2002. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely a history breaking moment. And I was just a big fan this weekend just to see all the fans and all of the legendary fighters go in. So I had a great time.
I did peep at your IG stories when you were there because, that's one of my bucket lists, to go to the Hall of Fame in Canastota in New York. And it's, it's a little small town in New York. It's not in the big cities. So everyone thinks, oh my God, I'm going to go to New York City and blah, 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 where all the lights are. No, you are way out there. But when you go through that Hall of Fame, the history that you see, the names, the faces, the people who have been inducted from, obviously way before even your time, Antonio, that's just something historical, something so legendary, and, something that you will eventually be a part of. You are a part of boxing history. So when you went through that little museum of just, who was who and when they got inducted, tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, it's just going back down memory lane. Back to the guys that really paved the way for all of us. And, and it was great to see all these great champions paying homage to the people that really paved the way. So that's what the Boxing Hall of Fame is all about. And it really gives the fans who truly are the people that we do it for, the fans, to show their love and appreciation, to touch some of their idols and to be right there on the grounds of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, which I've been about 6 or 7 times, since the Olympics. So it's always been one of those things. And, when we look at the legends that have passed on, Marvin Hagler, to really speak of one, when you go to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, you look forward to seeing guys like that because he never missed a year. Mm-hmm. He was a real, philanthropist when it came down to giving back to the fans. And those are the guys I've always looked up to and wanted to model, my career after. And, that's why I call myself the people's champ, because it's all about the people with me, man. And as long as they appreciate me and show me that love and affection every time out, then that's why I did it. And it was worth every sacrifice that I had to give into the sport of boxing.
And that, when you say that about yourself, because it's true, people, when when your name is mentioned, a lot of people have so much respect for you. There's not that hatred or like, oh, Antonio sucked in the ring. No, your accolades alone. You're a bronze Olympian medalist. Not many people can ever say that. You've won world titles. You've gone up in 2 different divisions. You challenged yourself, and now you're also behind the mic, which we will also get. We'll get into that later on. But even when, like I said earlier today, when I talked to you, when I did just a little quick interview about your post-fight reaction, you're so good at breaking down fights, and that's what I love. Like you know, obviously, especially now since you're on the mic, you're one of the few that can break down a fight and understand what the fighter is going through inside the ring as you are describing it. And not many people can do that. But for you to say that, you know, you are the people's champ. Yes, you are, because you've obviously given your life. You've put your life on the line for us, for our enjoyment. Sadly, but it's, you know, it's always a special moment. And then you also do it on the screen in Rocky Balboa. That I think I read that you're one of the 4 that has defeated Rocky in the ring. Wait, is it true that there were really 2 endings written for that movie?
Oh yeah, it had to be. You know what I mean?
But how does that go? Like, how does one ending? Does Sylvester Stallone say, "I don't know if I like it the way that ended," or just is it the writers' room? Do you get to be involved and say, "I kind of like that ending," as opposed to you winning? How does that go?
Well, you know, we had to appease all of our fans, and you know, and the one thing that you know, Sly really wanted to hit home was, you know, reality. You know, we really wanted to make it look real. The fight content on there, we really was, you know, trading blows. And that was the caveat when you look at all of the other Rocky movies. That was the caveat. And I think the biggest change in everything was the fight, the way the fight was choreographed and the way we did our job. That's where the talent really came out, you know, when we had to really roll with those punches, you know, to make them look as if they truly landed, you know, and I think, you know, we both really did well in that aspect. And then the way we choreographed it, I think it was more realistic when you look at the combinations and the actual fight scene. It was more realistic to a real fight, you know, so that's what we wanted. And I think we hit it out the park when it comes down to that. You know, the fight scene. Well,
I know that he wanted to put someone in the as the opponent to Rocky with an actual fighter, as opposed to paying an actor to try to understand and try to pretend and try to play a boxer. Because, like they always say, you can't play boxing. You really can't, especially like. I mean, I get there are some movies that you have Cinderella Man, The Fighter. You know, there are some people that can play, but they've also done it as kind of their pastime, but there's nothing more real than an actual boxer. But kudos to you, and it was great. And, you know, I remember when I first saw it, I was like, wait a minute, that's Antonio Tarver. What's he doing in this movie?
Right.
But that's good. So now let's go back to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, because I did see this thing, a clip of you with Marcos Viejos on Fight Hub. And I'm like, that is why we would love to have you on the show, because, you know, this is the first year, well, actually the first 3 years, International Boxing Hall of Fame has inducted females. And let me just say some of the names. Christy Martin, Holly Holmes, Layla Ali, Ann Wolfe, Regina Halmich, Lucia Riker, and then there's Kathy Duva. She's not a fighter, but she's a female in boxing. Pioneer. She's a powerhouse. Yes, a powerhouse pioneer in promoting boxers.
Barbara Betrick.
There you go. Oh, yes. She's the oldest, 92 years old. I saw that video of her. Oh, my God. She could still crack. She's 92. Chase, I'm going to have to show you this video of her, because she's a badass. She was fought in the 1950s and 1960s. But just to see these women finally inducted, they broke barriers. They broke glass ceilings. They paved the way for women like me, and women who are fight in the ring, women who are on the mic, women that work in this sport. You know, something for you as a man, that did you ever think this would ever happen? Well,
you know, when I came out, you know, Christy Martin was out there blazing the trail already. So it really wasn't anything that, you know, I was unfamiliar with. You know, she was on all of Mike Tyson's undercard, you know, had one of the greatest promoters of all time, Don King. So, I credit Dunn for that, and we got to all give, credit where credit is due. He was the first one that really saw and realized the potential that these young ladies had. You know what I mean? So, and then we all realized with the talents of Lucille Riker, Ann Wolf, Layla Ali, and let's not forget Jackie Frazier as well.
Yes.
And, if I miss someone, these are the ladies that I'm familiar with. Lucille Riker, I hate that I wasn't able to see her. But yeah, I remember all of those great women putting it out there, blood, sweat, and tears, just like we did. So yeah, and they deserve it. And it was long overdue. And I'm just glad I was here to witness it. I was there to witness it. And just the camaraderie that all of the legends and the champions had was unbelievable. And I'm still on cloud nine.
I bet. I mean, I was watching the live feed and just, I didn't get to see all of the inductions. I mean, I even got to see some of the banquet hall interviews. So that was just really touching when Floyd came up crying and he was just saying, I promised myself I would never, ever cry. And, I saw him cry because he did the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame for his father when Senior got inducted, and I introduced Floyd. So I saw him cry. And the way he spoke about his father, it was so touching. It was just, obviously, like anyone that's a junior, it's because of their father who put them in boxing. But then even just during the inductions, all the speeches, just giving credit to where credit is due, all of the people that was in that, in every class. It was just incredible to hear their story. Either it was a 2-minute interview or a 20-minute interview. It was very touching. Out of all the speeches, which one touched you the most?
It had to be Bernard Hopkins.
Yes,
man,
yes.
it was so real. It was so real. And just how he got started. And it just shows you. And the people that believed in him, even from day one, Rudy Battle, for one, famous referee and judge. And they told about how he spotted him in the neighborhood, but Hopkins had to go on and do what he had to do to become, the executioner. And it was, his story was real, and you can understand his plight in the neighborhood, in the inner city. He got caught up, but it was the champion that was inside of him that allowed him to focus and commit and dedicate his life to the sport. And look at what you see. He mapped out for himself a legendary career. He defeated me in his prime. I mean, he defeated me as an older guy. I was an older guy already, so he defeated me as an older guy, and that showed his greatness that night. And he went on and I believe defended the title and fought on maybe 5 years after that. I think his last fight, he was 53 years old, and that just goes to show you his commitment and dedication to the sport. And to see his son there with him, Junior, it was just a beautiful thing. And that really touched me. Mayweather's speech touched me. And personally, meeting Ann Wolf and she was telling me about her story, that really touched me, man. When you talk about perseverance and overcoming, everybody has a story. And I would advise any real boxing fan to make your way up to Canastota, man. Treat yourself. And you will not be disappointed. We had all of the events at the Turning Stone Casino this weekend, which was beautiful. They really took great care of us. And like I said, I'm still on cloud nine, man. I'm so thankful that I was able to be up there just as a fan myself, to just mingle with the other champions. This is unbelievable, and I'll never forget it.
I know. I was living, not just necessarily me, but I and so many other people and so many other fans were living vicariously through you, through Roy, through Floyd, through Fight Hype, through Fight Hub, through everyone that was there. I was so jealous. And I told Jeandra, my co-host, I go, next year, I go, that's our bucket list. I go, we have to be there. Just like how Tom Porter was there doing his show. I go, we are going to be doing that. And I guarantee you, Pro Box TV will be doing the same thing on doing interviews, live interviews, and just reactions from the fans and from the fighters themselves. Because it is the highest honor to be inducted as a first ballot Hall of Famer. For people that don't understand, it's not like, It's a popularity contest in the sense of you get written in by some of the best writers, the best fighters. People that matter in boxing. And there's not that many people to write in your ballot. So for these people to be selected, all of these fighters, all of these people that matter in boxing that have shaped our sport it's truly an honor to just, like me, watch it through the internet. Thank goodness that we were able to see it. But thank you, Antonio, for going in there, going out as a fan. So now I know that we talked about you being on the mic. Now I've seen you, like I said, you do great interviews. You break it down. You just understand boxing. Now you've also come into this new thing that I remember when I saw Michael Woods. He kept saying, "I'm going to start this new job." And I mean, I guessed every name under the sun. He's like, no. And he's like, we have a stellar commentary team. I'm like, oh, now you've really piqued my interest. And when I actually saw who was involved, wow. Okay, so you have yourself, Roy Jones Jr., Marquez, Paulie Malignaggi. Yeah, yes. And then you have Gary Jonas, who is the creator. He was Iron Mike Promotions. And you guys film out of Florida. So, everyone's like, oh, it's a stellar team, but it's just small boxing. Okay, first of all, y'all, there's grassroots, the club shows. Where do you think these fighters come from? They don't just become world title fighters all of a sudden. They have to start somewhere. And I really love the concept. Your production value is fantastic. And obviously, like I said, the commentary is bar none. So how do you like being on the mic? I'm going to ask you again, because I've already said you're great on the mic.
Yeah, I love it. It's my way of really giving back and lending, my experience, to the game. Yeah, I think I have a knack for seeing it, as it happens right before our eyes. And, that's where I'm at my best, I believe, not being scripted. You know what I'm saying? Just calling it like you see it. And I really do enjoy that. And what we have here at Pro Box TV, I think is something, a new beginning. And we want to call it the Boxing Channel, because we want to be able to give our fans boxing content, real boxing content, 24 hours a day. And we're bringing live shows. We have, several different series on our platform. The Contender series. We have, the Young Stars, Future Stars series, and we have The Last Chance. And we think, these platforms will bring out the best in these young fighters and some of these more experienced fighters that are looking for also their last chance, So when you tell a fighter it's their last chance and they're going up against another fighter that is his last chance too, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to have a barn burner, barn burner, right? That's always a tongue twister for me, but they're gonna give it their all. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna put out, and here at Pro Box TV, we want to kind of gear ourselves to 50-50 fights. We want to put these fights together that we don't know who's the favorite. You don't know, who's supposed to win this fight. It's a pick 'em fight, and you're going to see two fighters that are in great shape, leave it all in the ring. And that's what we want to give our fans, exciting fights.
That's what I love about it, because these fights are evenly matched. Who's your matchmaker for Pro Box TV?
Well, he works with a lot of guys right now. I don't know who's directing who's actually the matchmaker, official matchmaker. I don't get involved in that. They tell me who's fighting, and then I tell you from there. you know what I'm saying? So
no, but it's really good. It's fun to see, and the price point is so cheap. You can't. It's $199. Yeah, it's $199 a month, less than a cup of coffee. So do yourself a favor, tap in. And our podcast is on fire. Man, I know. I tell you guys have a great podcast. That's what the fans was telling me. Man, we see Pro Box TV. Man, they're on it and they're excited about it. They're listening to Roy Jones, Paulie, and I break it down. And then if the Spanish side, Paulie and Marquez, they're doing a great job. And to see Marquez inducted this weekend was a thrill. Yeah. So, I got two of my partners in as Hall of Famers. So, I'm just thrilled to death that I was there to support those guys. Roy Jones finished off with Y'all Must Have Forgot. That was classic. You know what I'm saying? That was classic. Just to see him. We had Roy on last week. Jeandra, my partner, was practicing her rap. one of his rap. Don't even ask me to do it because I'm not going to throw some bars down, Antonio. But he he even said something that we always talked about people, how they work together, and if they don't like each other. And he goes, what's so funny? A lot of people think, or a lot of people thought Antonio and I don't get along, obviously, because you guys fought and you guys both it was a 1 loss and a 1 win for you. And now you're partners, but it came down to the level of respect, because there's people that are always going to look up to you, or you look up to someone else because they brought you into boxing, especially like some of Olympians or whatnot. And he just says, I don't have no hatred for no one. Maybe once we get in the ring, yeah, that's when it all boils down to. But outside, it's all love, because we're all fighters at the end of the day. We're all humans, just here to feed our family. So I thought that was it was a sweet gesture that he said. And I was like, I didn't know if you knew that, since you guys share the mic.
During the heat of the battle, though, back in the days, now it got a little.
There's no.
It got a little tense. It got a little tense.
Do you guys ever throw back, like, do you remember that round 3 or round 5 back then?
No, I don't think we haven't made it that far yet. We can go back. We can go back and pick out rounds and dissect them and stuff now, but it's definitely always been a mutual respect for Roy Jones Jr. How can you not, if you love boxing? And that's what I can't understand sometimes. If you say you love boxing, how can you really hate somebody that did it the way I did it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody gave me anything, and I think I can say it was 2-3 times harder for me. Mm-hmm. That's what my whole thing, when I look back at my career, it's just, man, hey, I just always had to do it the hard way. Even in boxing, I had to be better than expected.
Yeah.
I couldn't just win. No, I couldn't just win. I had to blow them out. I couldn't have anything remotely close. You can go look at my record. I never won a close decision.
Yeah, that's
so the things that I earned it the hard way. And I just want everybody to understand that there was nothing given to me, nothing.
I think, the era of boxers from where your era till now, it's very different, because social media was not prevalent back then.
Can you imagine if it was?
Imagine
if it was.
It's, it's a game changer. And I get, and that's why I wonder why fighters do not use social media as a tool to, bring in more fans, to bring in the sport of boxing, because obviously, we all say it, Jake Paul does it. He is legally, by a boxing license, a fighter, but he's done something that no one else has been able to do. Ryan Garcia has been able to do that. And, everyone says he's an Instagram boxer, but look at the amount of fans he has versus someone, yes, a very talented, great fighter, but if you don't have a fan base, then, you might not be able to get the big fights that we all want. So now it comes hand in hand, boxing and putting your stuff out on social media and using that tool as something very, very productive and something positive for their career. And just like us, we have to use it for our podcast to get the word out. If not, then no one will ever know about it.
Well, it takes personalities.
Yes.
Everybody ain't going to be a Jake Paul or Logan Paul. Everybody's not going to be a Ryan, but you have to find your lane, your niche. And if it's in you, it's going to come out. And that's the thing about boxing. If you're that guy, it's going to come out, because it's all going to come out in a square circle. And if you're not, it's going to come out. It's just a matter of time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So everything is going to be clear. If you continue to win and fight and compete, everything that's inside of you will be revealed. And it all takes place in that center circle, but hats off to those guys. They had found a way to really bring in, like you said, make themselves famous. Mm-hmm. Through boxing. And Ryan Garcia has done that. I think Rolly has done that very well.
Yeah.
When you look at the fact that he's only had 14 fights, but these guys are unique individuals. They don't make these type of fighters every day. You know what I mean? So that's why they're where they're at, because they're unique. And they went out on faith. They took a chance. They took the risk. And they succeeded on that. But now you still got to get in that ring and win. So Ryan Garcia right now is really looking for that big fight that'll really solidify, himself in the game as far as being championship type talent. He's calling out guys like Tank Davis.
Yeah.
So it won't be long. It won't be long, even if it won't be next. It won't be long before Ryan has the opportunity to prove himself amongst the very best. And when you look at guys like Devin Haney out there hovering in that weight class, you look at guys like Lomachenko, also still Kamboza. I mean, Teofimo on the outside looking in, wanted his opportunity to prove that it wasn't just a fluke. So that lightweight division is on fire. And I can't wait to see when all the smoke is clear, because there's going to be a whole lot more smoke in that division. And right now, Devin Haney is the man on top. He has all the belts. But now we need to see, can he defend? Kamboza hasn't been able to defend. Teofimo hasn't been able to defend.
So, when we go back to that.
Lomachenko hasn't been able to defend.
Well, Loma, we saw what happened with Loma, and sadly that he wasn't able to take the fight with Kambosos because obviously he's in Ukraine defending his country. So obviously he made the next best bet, or the next best fight obviously is Haney, who had the WBC belt, which is rightfully the fight that should happen to find out who the true undisputed was at the time. And now we definitely know the email champ, the belt that was mailed to him, the franchise champion, is all now Devin Haney. Now, so Kambosos said that he felt that he did much better and it was a closer fight. I don't know how you scored it, but he is going to reactivate the rematch. And it's going to happen in Australia, and Haney doesn't care. He's down to go back to Australia and beat him again, like he says. Can Kambosos change his game plan, and can he outbox, or can he even knock out Devin Haney?
Well, man, I was all wrong about that fight because I just really believe Kamboza would have brought a lot more to the table. I didn't expect Devin Haney would go over there and control that fight like he did. But you learn something new every day, and not that I was underestimating him. I hadn't seen the poise and in the ring at the time. But he did his thing behind a controlling jab. He grew up in front of our eyes. Yeah. You understand me? He was focused. And even if his father wouldn't have made that trip, I think Devin Haney would have performed just as well. So you got to take your hat off to a young guy.
Absolutely.
This young with that type of focus, it's just unbelievable that what he did. And hey, he's saying, bring it on. I want to get rid of Kamboza, get him out the way so I can have a clear path to whomever wants to challenge me for these belts. So I like his mindset. I like his approach. You know what I mean? And he really impressed me. So, I can't say, I can say I'm a Devin Haney fan, but I really can see Devin Haney doing some big things in his this lightweight division. And really, when you look at Shakur Stevenson out there with that Olympic pedigree, I mean, that's a mega fight. Mm-hmm. And when you look at guys like Tank Davis, that's a mega fight. And even Teofimo or even Lomo is a mega fight. So Devin Haney is going to be busy defending those belts.
He's
and I just can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I mean, we've always known the lightweight division was fire, but now it's even brought more fire into this division because they all want the belts. And Devin Haney doesn't care. Like he says, he doesn't even care about the money. He'll fight wherever. He went clear across around the world, down under. Possibly his father was not going to show up, but he went there, like they said, to go be a man and bring home those belts, and he sure did in a fashion. I'm going to ask you for predictions because that's what we do. Because since our show is called the Best Women's Boxing Show, period, I know that you are a fan of women's boxing, but are you familiar with Michaela Mayer versus Alicia Baumgardner?
I've heard of Baumgardner, but I really haven't put those two fighters under the microscope. I'll be honest, I got to really verse myself in the women's boxing.
Ooh, yes, you do, Antonio.
With everything else going on, with the guys, I really have to pay that more attention. But like I said, I did see the Katie Taylor fight in New York. Serrano. In New York, so that Serrano, that was a big fight. Everybody saw that when they packed, Madison Square Garden. And Clarissa Shields is one of the more popular lady fighters that I follow and watch. Even MMA, I don't watch MMA a whole lot other than just the superstars. But, I got to do better with the comeback sport because it is, comeback sports. But I admit I got to do better with, educating myself a lot more on the young ladies that are putting that work in out there in this era, in today's sports.
Because
in today's boxing.
Those ladies right now are showing up and showing out. Before that, they were always put at the bottom of the card or just, when the doors weren't even open yet. And now they're headlining MSG, Mayer versus Baumgardner. That's unification, and whoever wins, they're going to fight Choi for undisputed. So these are big fights that are happening. Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall. That's going to happen hopefully in London, I believe in September. That's going to be the grudge match, and just a lot of fights. And the best part about it, Antonio, is that they all talk shit on Twitter. But because women before would never say anything because we're not supposed to talk like that. How else are you going to get fights made? And it's not for fake. These people don't like each other.
They mean it.
They really mean it. And it's just like you and Roy or anyone else that has a grudge match. They put it out on Twitter, and eventually that fight gets so much buzz. Fans they're clamoring for it, and then they're like, make this fight happen. And when it actually happens, the buildup to that fight is going to be so mega. People are going to be buying the pay-per-views or going to be watching the fights or going to be buying tickets to the fights to watch two females throw it down in the ring. And they're going to give you one hell of a fight because some of these women do not stop punching. They don't.
Punching, right.
Yeah, they don't.
Right.
So I just wanted to ask. I just wanted to see if you watched any women's boxing. But are there any fighters right now that is on your radar that are prospects or that are almost at world contention mode? Not
almost at world contention, but we have some fighters down at Pro Box TV that I really have taken a liking to. So Daniel Brackus for one, Najee Lopez. These are the two guys I think that are really going to make their imprint in the game early, not late. But I think once they get about 10 to 12 fights under their belt, I think the people going to really be paying close attention to these guys' development. Because from what I see, what I'm saying, they're on the right track of really being, real big figures in this game. They've shown all the talent and ability. They really have.
No, that's good. I like that. But, I'm going to ask you this one. I'm so high on this fighter. I swear, like I always say, I told Roy, I think I'm going to probably be his number one fan. Boots Ennis.
Oh, yeah. Boots Ennis, yeah.
Yeah.
But see, he's a guy that has shown superstar talent and ability. He definitely, and he did it the right way. He's did it the hard way. He's earned it. And he's really developed tremendously over the last 2 or 3 years. I had my eye on Ennis for a long, long time. I always tell people I see him first because I see the ability and the talent way long before it's developed, and that's just one of my knacks. You know what I'm saying?
When you say that, what do you see? What do you see when you see that before anyone else? What are you particularly looking for?
Well, it's just it's a unique thing that you see that that the real fighters only have. You know what I mean? And it's an approach to the game. It's attitude. It's confidence. It's the quiet confidence that you can see. You can listen to their words. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get confused sometimes, but most of the time they'll tell you who they are. And but do you believe them or not? You know what I mean? So that's the thing. They'll tell you who they are, but it takes a while for everyone to believe them or for them to prove that what they say was true.
Got it.
But talent is something you can see with the naked eye. You can see how a guy throw his jab. And the first thing I look for in a young fighter is balance, rhythm. And does he have to get set to punch, or can he punch off motion? These are the things that I look for and say, hey, if a guy is doing that naturally, he's like a ball of clay. You can make and create whatever you want, through just information. So, and these champions, they have it inside. It's something that drives them. You know what I'm saying? And I just can't, you can hardly speak on it because you know it when you have it, and you know it when you see it.
That's true.
It's just something inside of these guys that whatever their why is your why. That a lot of time it has nothing to do with money. Is something that they're overcoming, something they're within them that they have to prove to themselves. And you know what? It makes the best champions. It makes Hall of Fame type fighters. And I see that type of quality in guys like Ennis, with the power, the speed, and he just know what he's doing. You can see that in the ring. He has total control, and it's the type of stuff that you don't see every day.
Yeah. Well, he's in one of those deep divisions that obviously we're going to have to find out who's going to be undisputed against Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford.
Oh, boy. Hey,
I have to hear your prediction. I know you don't give predictions, but please tell me.
I'm going to tell you this. I've been getting a lot of flack, and it's like I don't understand. Being analysts and commentators, there's only two people that we're talking about. The blue corner and the red corner. It's not like we're favoring anyone. I'm just saying I'm breaking down Crawford as well as Errol Spence, and I'm telling you, people are saying that I'm favoring Crawford. I'm not favoring Crawford.
You heard it first. He's not favoring Crawford on the Best Women's Boxing Show. Period.
I'm just telling you what Crawford's abilities are. I'm telling you what his abilities are, and I'm telling you what Errol Spence's abilities are. And I tell everyone, I've seen Errol fight in different ways. He can box, you know what I mean? But when Errol Spence is Errol Spence, he's putting that pressure on you. He's breaking you down. He's backing you up, and he's destroying your body, working from the body to the head, and that's his game. When he's on his game, that's what I see Errol Spence doing for the most part. Can he do more? Of course he can do more. Has he been forced to do more? That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we do exactly what we need to do until we're forced to do something else. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And we're forced by the heat of the battle, that opposition across from you. He's going to make you do something else. And if you can't do something else well, your chances of winning or defeating that guy is slim to none. So when you look at bag of tricks, and I've seen Crawford fight in so many variations, so many ways, and he's been a dog in all of them. When I say dog, that means he's shown. He's
got heart, grit, yeah.
He's trying to put bodily harm on you, and he ain't gonna stop until you're out, until he's knocked you out or stop you. He go about his business that way, very professional. And I like that about Crawford. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of myself in Crawford, meaning the way he approaches it. When you look at these names that they call, he don't care nothing about them. You understand me? He see his vision clear. I see that. But can Errol Spence, if anybody in the world going to defeat Crawford, it's going to be Errol Spence. A guy with that ability, that size, and with that potential, it's going to be Errol Spence. And if anybody's going to be Spence, is going to be a guy like Crawford. So they're perfectly tailor-made for each other. I don't know who's going to win, but I can tell you how that fight looks, how it's going to be, but and what we can expect. But when you fight great fighters, that ability and that talent rises. So we don't know. These guys can go to levels that maybe we haven't even seen them fight at just yet. So that's what we're hoping, that they bring the best out of each other, and we have an instant classic where we have an instant rematch and possibly a trilogy to finally see who weight class it really is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Do you think that fight will end in a knockout?
It could. When you look at these guys' power, you look at Terence Crawford, he's a great finisher. Mm-hmm. That's what I've noticed about Terence Crawford. If he hurts you, he's going to finish it. And the same can be said for Spence. The same can be said for Spence. But, when I look at that fight against Danny Garcia, I think he could have he could have pressed that pedal a little bit. I think it would have been great if he could have stopped Garcia. And I think at moments I felt like he could have, if he could have just applied that pressure. Well, if it would have been Terence Crawford, we wouldn't have been questioning if he, applied that pressure because he would have did that. That's just a fighter he is. You understand? He's going to finish you if he hurts you.
Oh,
And that's the difference I've seen. I'm not because Spence has a real his personality is real soft. He's laid back, but that don't mean that dog ain't inside. And he's not a beast. You understand me? But Crawford more, he wear it on his shoulder. You know what I mean? That's his personality. So don't get it twisted. I know that dog resides in Spence as well. He's shown us that.
Yeah.
You know, he's traveled abroad and beat quality fighters. And just everyday fighters don't do that either. So both of these guys have shown greatness. That's why the fans want to see who's the greatest and who's the very best in the welterweight division.
I'll be pissed if that fight does not happen next. I mean, these people saying that the contracts are signed. It needs to be signed. That's all I can say. Okay, and lastly, because we're going to have to let you go soon. Quick, because I know that you also fought at heavyweight. Usyk versus Joshua 2, the rematch. Who wins and how?
You know, Joshua, he has to go through the fire the first time and really tell himself, you know what? That wasn't so bad. I could have did this. I could have did that. And we saw that against Ruiz.
But to be fair, Ruiz came in much heavier, heavier in the rematch.
Okay, now we can say the same thing about Joshua in the first fight.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, that's true.
So he was weighing about 260, about 30 pounds too much. I mean, even though he's a big guy, but yeah, we could say the same thing about him in the first fight that allowed Ruiz to even have that dominating performance.
Okay.
But Joshua went through it and he got back to the drawing board, and you saw he made adjustments. So can he make enough adjustments to overturn what Usyk has as far as his ability to box in the ring, move, and set these big guys up because of his speed? That remains to be seen. But I know if AJ is coming in here to try to outbox Usyk, it's going to be a long night.
Well,
he's going to have to.
You saw Robert Garcia is now taking him on as part of his team, or he's brought in Robert Garcia, the trainer. Will that help, or will he revert to his old style?
I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and throw any trainer under the microscope. I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
I'm not going to do
That's
it.
Fair.
But these guys got to get someone that can teach them, man. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? And really show them how it goes. Boxing is a science. It's a science to the madness. And technically, you got to start that from that foundation. And if that foundation is weak, you ain't gonna be able to build a whole lot on it. So sometimes these guys got to go back to the drawing board, even if it takes going back from step one to get the foundation solid. I don't know these guys' communication ability. How they communicate with fighters. I don't know, but we're gonna see if he's the trainer that he's saying that he is, because he has an opportunity to get it right in one time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I long time ago, I offered Anthony Joshua to come work with me just to show these guys. It ain't gonna take but one.
Did he respond?
No, he didn't respond. I offered Wilder also, because I just want to show these guys it ain't gonna take but one.
Yeah.
To show them what for the training game, what's missing. It's kind of hard because I want to stay neutral, but it's kind of hard when I know I have so much that I can offer and give.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. You know what I'm saying? There's so many fighters that, like even Floyd has offered Joshua, like a lot of fighters have offered, but because your talents that you can possibly help someone, but they have to want to be helped. That's the thing. So we'll find out. We'll find out. You can take them to the well, but you can't make them drink. But eventually, like I said, I'm going to be one. I know because the knowledge I have, and I can teach what I know, and that's a talent. You understand? I can teach what I know, and anybody I get in front of, it's going to be different because it's coming from the source. You understand me? So believe me, I have the type of influence that I have. It's magic.
It's magic. You're the magic man.
It's
That's why.
Magic. It's totally magic. It's totally magic. And I teach the sweet science. Everything I'm teaching is proven. You understand me? And I think I have a lot to offer. That remains to be seen. But you can check my son out. He ain't never had no amateur boxing, real amateur boxing background. But when you look at him, he's scientifically solid. That foundation is there. He does. He can do anything in the ring. So that proved that I can teach what I know. You understand me? So that goes without saying. And I'm not offering my services. I'm just saying one day somebody going to realize that there is a tree over here, and we sprouting out all this good fruit, man. They better come get some. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, Antonio, it was such a pleasure. When you are in Vegas, please come by and be a guest on our show if you were ever in Vegas anytime soon, because we would love to have you. And it's whenever Jeandra is back in the studio with us. But I'm so glad. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Make sure all your fans follow me, all your followers follow me at Antonio Tarver.
Yeah, there you go.
On all social media. There you go. Tap in, man. And make sure y'all like, and share and subscribe. ProBoxTV.com. Hey, $1.99 a month, man. It's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So go get that. Really and you can see the big four. The big four. Me, Paula Malignaggi, Roy Jones Jr., and Manuel Marquez. The podcast, baby. Don't miss it.
So good. But again, thank you again, Antonio. And I can't wait to say if all your predictions or just your breakdowns are on point with all of the fighters. Yeah, not predictions. Remember here, he did not predict Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford for Undisputed. He just gave his thoughts on their breakdowns. So
that's it. That's it.
Okay, well then make sure, remember, Antonio, get to know some of these women fighters, because I'm telling you now,
I will.
They bang. Will. Okay, guys. Well, again, another one wrapped in the can, and Jeandra eventually will be back on the table with us to join us for another edition of the Best Women's Boxing Show. Period. But for now, I'm your host, Cynthia Conte, and thank you for tuning in. See you guys at the fights. Bye, guys.